Hey everybody, welcome to OMG Yikes. I'm Mike Suarez.
I'm Misha Han.
Still hating the OMG though.
I get it.
I'm Katharyn.
Uncle Katharyn, aka our Garfield.
Uncle Cat.
So,
We got an Uncle Cat.
Katharyn, we're on the same day as last week, so it's still 28 days sober. Gonna just go for not drinking for her whole life. Just gonna switch it all to Coke and Molly. So, if you have any, she'll love to do it for you.
Right.
And she'll probably fall in love.
Little nervous though. Last night when I couldn't sleep, I put on season 1, episode 1 of Frasier. So this is the stage of.
This is your hobby that you found right now?
This is where my life's at. Isn't that terrifying? I never thought I'd
Do you
watch
like Frasier? Frasier's not a bad show though.
I mean, don't you remember Frasier being on when you were young, going like, "What the fuck is this boring shit?" Right?
I'm older than you, so it was on during Seinfeld, so it wasn't really considered boring.
Well, I don't know. I never thought I'd watch Frasier, and now
you're an adult instead
Now
of
I'm
watching the
watching
Wiggles.
Frasier.
So it's
and I like it, and I don't know what that means, but it is really good.
it is really
Yeah.
good. Frasier's a really good show.
Really good show.
It's way better than Friends.
Really oh my god, there's no contest.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I've only seen a few episodes, and I know that.
exactly.
I've not seen
I
either
remember it
of those
won a lot
shows,
of
really.
awards.
Yeah.
Don't watch Friends.
Or Frasier?
Watch
No, watch
Frasier.
Frasier.
Guys, this has become a Frasier podcast.
Yeah,
Oh
this
my
is
God,
welcome to
yikes.
the new Frasier cast.
And what a great spin-off from a fantastic show. Cheers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say this podcast is a great spin-off from Frasier.
How many years late am I to this?
when did it come out? So
93, I think.
So that many years. You're Asian.
Oh, so it's about the time where your dad left.
Yep, precisely.
You are one lost dad away from Frasier. That's how late you are.
Oh.
You're one
I'm
dad
out of-
late.
I'm out of coffee.
So, wow. So she's gonna get angrier.
So yeah, I watch Frasier.
Her secret
now.
is she's always been angry.
You're watching it on Netflix or Hulu or what?
I don't remember what Netflix. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, cool.
So I watch it on my roommate's Netflix.
I do watch more. Well, I did watch more stuff like that when I was trying to not drink. Now I just try to stay busy. Yeah.
I need a hobby. I know one of them might be trying to go to the gym and swimming. But I need more. So
Well, those are good hobbies. You don't want a bullshit hobby like learning Magic the Gathering. So
I like going to eat.
so do I.
Fuck, I know it's so boring. But I mean, like, I'll go to Jackson Heights and shit. I used to do that before I did comedy, but I don't think that's a real hobby. Anyway, boring.
People make it a hobby. That's the thing. People try to make food a hobby.
I
It's-
love eating.
Yeah, it's like we just like food. It's not a hobby to. I'm a foodie. It's like no, you just fucking like eating chicken wings. So, like a real.
I feel personally attacked right now.
No, like I'm talking about me, dum dum.
Oh.
So, I just mean like being like if you call yourself a foodie, it's a dumb word to put, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Just say like I enjoy food.
I go to a
I
lot
enjoy
of new
new food.
restaurants. Yeah.
Because almost everyone who's like I'm a foodie just goes to wherever like a newspaper tells them to fucking go to, or
It's so
wherever
pathetic.
BuzzFeed says to eat.
You're like clinging to something. It's like get a life, do some drugs, become an alcoholic, and then quit drinking.
Yeah.
You know, and like.
This is a very specific path.
I'm just like, I think it's so sad for some reason. I find it just sickening when people are like, oh, we're going to go to this restaurant and this is going to be our whole event and our whole night and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. I'm like, and it's weird because I like food. And if I could afford that shit, I would probably go. But I'm, you know, I don't know.
But even then, like you can still be an adventurous
It's like a whole scene.
food thing. Like Anthony Bourdain, the thing he would do, and he would just go to weird countries, do shit like that.
I fuck with that.
Go to an old Russian woman's house where she's
That's
the
what
only
I'm
woman
saying.
who can make this weird halibut pie that you have to
Hell
eat
yeah,
with a
that
whole
sounds so
bottle of
good.
vodka.
I don't even know. Yeah, like one of my favorite places in Jackson Heights, it's called Dawa Kitchen, or it's called Daguri Kitchen. I don't know what it's called. It has 2 names. But all I know is it's like the size of a closet, and it looks like you're going to fucking be chopped in pieces there. And like,
Yeah.
that shit is goddamn delicious. Buffalo momos.
I've never been there. It sounds amazing.
It's fucking awesome. $2 like ramen, and which you're like, well, isn't that how much ramen costs? But
No,
but like
not
really
most
good
places.
ramen.
Yeah.
Like it's not like Japanese ramen. It's like a different. It's like I want to say Tibetan. It's like
Oh, it's amazing.
you know what I mean? Yeah, goat. I eat goat there. the tallies, you know, and you have no idea what's in those little. So you're like, I guess this is pickled mango, and that's all I know, and everything else you're like, I have no idea what this shit is, but I like, or how to eat it, but
those places are the best. But it's like we have dumplings, and like they don't say what's in them,
and it's like,
and you don't ask.
$8 a person. And yeah.
It's like, here's 20 for $4. Like, okay, I guess. So
yeah, I was like dating a guy who, like, in theory would have probably been on paper the best choice. Like, he was technically everything I wanted. Like, long hair, motorcycle, real job, had money, but he was like so precious. I started calling him the motorcycle princess because he was so finicky, and like he didn't like that place. But then he took me to some place on like Park Avenue, you know, a place that has like a fucking DJ in there, and like everybody there's like bottles, but you know what I mean, like and I'm like, I actively hate this environment, like. And no, none of this food here is special. He's like, isn't this like meat amazing? And I'm like, yo, I've like had amazing meat, you know, like in more ways than one, in every hole, okay, every hole.
She beat us to it. She was like, we know where it's going, and yes, the meat's been inside me.
But you know, and I was just like, this dude fucking sucks. But you know, so yeah.
Yeah, because you can't buy taste. Like, it's like the idea is like there are restaurants that are like flashy, but there are restaurants that are good. And
I wish I could remember. It was called
places.
Zuma. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's already a dumb name.
Yeah, and I'm like,
it sounds like an exercise you dance to.
And I'm like, why do you like this place? You know, it's like, oh, this beef. And well, no, he like was claiming the food, and I'm like, dude, like, this food is fine. It's not bad, but it's not like.
That's not why you're here.
You know what I mean? It was like one of those situations where the waiter, because I mean, we've all met me at this point. The waiter was like, "Thank you guys for being like down to earth," you know, because we're like being normal, or I'm being like, I know you fucking hate this place too, right? And the waiter's like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah.
You're not wearing a hat and sunglasses or anything crazy.
It's not a place where people have to pretend to like their job.
Well, I mean, he does, but like when you can talk, when like I'm like, look, you can tell me.
But Katharyn's so great, people just like her.
I am generally a joy to behold. Not on this podcast, though. I feel like this is like my interactive diary where I can just say what I really feel.
Well, that's what it's become.
Fuck you, fuck you.
Isn't that what all podcasts are? Just a place where you get to be real.
Shut up.
I know.
But you told me about all these places. Like, you saw me eating dumplings with Patrick, and best bartender in the world, even if you don't drink. So
Patrick and I interact a lot less now that I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
It's sort of sad.
Just hang out. Just go hang out. I hang out with him more.
I kind of have a crush on him, but here's the thing. I'm gonna be honest. So he was trying to do.
3 rings are off. He's mad. Each one of those are grenade pins. So.
My beautiful vintage jewelry.
They are nice.
Antiques. Anyway, one of the reasons this like 30 days thing for me started was Patrick was like apparently going to be doing.
And he's not done at all.
Yeah, you just buried the fucking story there. 'Cause that's the thing. He was like, all right, I'm doing this with a friend of mine.
We talked about that thing before. That's why.
Did we? Like, yeah, and then we're gonna buy like a jet ski, an hour on jet skis at the end of this. I was like, okay, that's a stupid prize, but sure. And so he was doing it. Another friend of mine in Bangkok was doing it, and another comic, Luke Tuma, happened to also like stop drinking the same day I did, because we were just having this conversation while wasted, just like, man, I don't know, like why I'm doing this. And
no, here's why. I mean, but especially Patrick's not doing it at all, because last night we kept ordering food throughout the night.
Yeah,
like they ordered sushi, but it was like one of those weird sushi places where it was like peanuts and avocado, like that. And then we ordered a bag of fried desserts from somewhere, but it was just like fried Twinkies, fried Oreos, beignets, just a bag of things that were all the wrong color from what they should be.
Yeah.
Just everything's brown. The bag is now see-through of all the grease. It was amazing. So we're just
sounds
eating.
good.
Yeah, like I had to walk away. Like, there's still more, and I don't want it.
Sweating and heaving, and you're like,
I was hosting the 10 o'clock, and I had to stop. Like, I'm sweating because
God,
of this food.
where was that food when I popped in?
It was probably still there around the corner in the waitress station.
Well,
but
yeah.
you just took off to the pair. So
I mean, I had nothing to do for 40 minutes, and
you
that's
did yourself
never
a favor
the choice.
Not eating that. So.
But like, yeah. So Patrick was gonna do it, and I was like, you know what? And my friend was doing it, so I was like, fuck it, I'll do this. And like 4 days into my thing, I was like, hey man, I'm at 4 days, and he's like,
yeah.
He's like, well, I'm starting tomorrow. And then like I was like, how are you doing yesterday? And he's just like, July. I'm like, you're never doing this. And that's the thing that made my crush go down, because I like people who can follow through, you know? And I'm not saying you can't, but it's a very difficult environment when you're a bartender and you're fucking bored and there's booze and cocaine everywhere. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But
I did see him say no to a shot last night, so.
But he was drinking already. Like,
No, but not. He started drinking after I left, so. So good for him there.
no.
Before he was just drinking the entire time.
It's a failure.
I'm not saying he's not.
I
mean,
know.
Not his.
But he can't feel good
Words.
about it.
I am having a stroke. Okay.
Anyway.
We had to restart the podcast because half my face went numb earlier and I couldn't say things.
It was still
That's
left
true.
over from the night before, all of the candy and
I had a fried
sweets.
Oreo fucking thing. So we're going to pick up where we left off with Katharyn's story. This is all you had to say about this part, right? The thing you wanted to tell us?
Yeah.
Okay. Making sure.
I'm not excited about this.
Well,
This is going to be longer than 45 minutes, but you have to cut it off, okay? Because
No,
I
we're-
got somewhere to be.
no, we're going to cut off.
She's already trying to leave.
We've been, because you got abducted by professionals who your mom and the authorities sent, right?
Right.
So you're in this car ride with two groups of people where you were just handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point they took handcuffs off you, but you were just basically treated like a prisoner, right?
Yeah.
And then they hand you off to a camp. Where was the camp?
Well, I can't remember where, but they gave me to another lady at some point.
Right.
at
But
some
like you
state.
went through Utah.
Yeah, I went from Chico to Duchesne, Utah.
Right. And in Utah, the second group put you in camp.
2 people gave me to a lady who took me to Subway, fed me, and then took me to camp.
Right. I'm just trying to get to camp. Okay. Okay.
Well,
So this-
I've clung to that sandwich. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was my last meal for for 6 weeks. That was my last real delicious.
What did you know going into this, though? When you ate at Subway, what did you know?
I knew what I had learned from the people in the vehicle by having good behavior. I learned they started by saying you're going to have a lot of outdoor stuff. And then I was like, well, I'll probably just stay in my room. And they were like, look, because they're like, you've been good. So they kind of laid it out for me. And I was like, this.
What did they tell you?
They were like, you're going to a wilderness therapy. Can't remember. Like, they didn't call it a facility, but
Reformation?
they called it wilderness.
Okay.
You're like, they're going to think
It's a program called
wilderness.
Wilderness for
Well,
troubled
this was
youth,
called
basically?
Second Nature. My program was called Second Nature. Wilderness is an umbrella term for these types of programs that deal with you by making you be in the wilderness.
Gotcha.
I just like the idea that they're teaching you how to interact with people by taking you away from all of them.
Oh, I mean, they taught me how to start a fire out of twigs and sticks and shit.
we'll get there.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, we'll get there. So
Like, some of us are suicidal,
you
right?
get picked up, and now you're dropped off at Second Nature,
Yeah.
which is a cute name for what a double entendre.
Yeah, right. So
You
that
gotta have good
sandwich was like
branding
very
for the
important to me.
outside.
That sandwich was very important to me. I remember that sandwich.
What did you have?
It was a drive-through ham, Swiss, lettuce, red onion, jalapeno.
Okay,
Salt and
see, I
pepper.
thought you guys
Mayonnaise.
got out and ate together there.
No,
You were in the back seat
we
by
went to the
yourself.
drive-through. I was in the front seat
Oh,
with this woman.
What
Well,
did
because
she
there was
have?
only one of her. Huh?
what did she have?
I have no idea.
Did you get to
Fuck
use the
her.
radio?
I don't think she had anything. No.
She bought you the sandwich that you're clean to, and you're just like, fuck her.
I don't think she ate.
Oh,
She didn't eat.
They're just mad
She
at
could
her.
eat whenever she wants. Yeah, fuck her.
She was not as nice as the other two people.
I mean, she was fine, but fuck all of those people.
Oh,
I mean,
for choosing this job, I got you.
yeah,
For doing this to you and crossing you, you killed them 10 years ago.
yeah.
Blamed it on.
I wonder.
It was
Blame
a
it on
real Kill
quadruple-
Bill situation.
Blamed it on Quadruple H.
Sometimes I wonder, like, some of these fucking people I'd like to look in the eyes now and be like, hey, you want to have a conversation about what it is you fucking do? Like, now that I'm old enough and have processed a lot of this.
Right.
But,
So you're 15.
yeah.
Everyone thinks you're 18, but
No, now everyone thinks I'm 15.
I mean, when
She
they
got a
see
couple
you,
kisses.
And it was 17.
when I see you, when they see you, like, this is obviously an adult who's very glamorous, and you should know her. Anyway,
Damn it.
so now you get dropped off at Second nature.
Finally, we broke her. She's
Well, I liked
having
when
a
he,
good
said
time.
when he said the word glamorous. I was like, that's right, I am glamorous.
We did what second nature couldn't. We broke Katharyn. We should be a youth program. Sit in this podcast for a day. That'll make you act right. I don't want to go back there. It's hot.
It's
It's hot. And they just talk about themselves.
Misha ruins stories. He says the end. He spoiled everything. I wanted to know what happened to Endgame, but no.
It's hot and they just talk.
Iron Man dies.
We should get an intern.
I think we're technically all interns.
No, but I mean someone underage to surprise.
You just want a young man to walk around and do things for you. I don't mean in a sex way. I meant in a subservient way. Yeah,
It's a very
Okay.
glamorous intern.
exactly.
Young gay man.
You just want some young gay Filipino boy to peel grapes for you.
He
and-
doesn't need to be Filipino.
No, but you prefer it.
Why? Are you speaking from experience? I've never had a
Oh,
young.
trust me, young Filipino can peel grapes. They have the right fingers for it. So, you don't want a young Mexican guy that's all chunked out. Ugh. I don't fucking know.
He can peel avocados, but not.
Yeah, you want avocados? Oh, that was the one thing I forgot to say. If bad like food places, all right, you want to go places that look dirty sometimes, and like people don't trust those. Like San Antonio, there are 3 places I would take people. Where if we drove up and they were like, I don't want to go here, like you don't like food. You just, this is there's a bee on the window, but they wash their hands. All right, just calm down.
Yeah.
So that's all I was getting at.
I
Anyway,
take those letters as a suggestion at best.
yeah, I mean my kitchen's a D, so I eat there every day. Anyway, you're at camp. You're dropped off.
Well, no, there's more.
Okay,
I mean, I guess.
go with more. Go with more.
So I get there, and did we go over this? I mean, okay.
We
so,
glossed over it, but not really.
so they drop me off, and then there's this whole intake process where, like, they take all of my stuff, and, like, everything. I mean,
What
at this
did
point,
you have with you?
well, I was in pajamas, and I had that lock chained around my neck. So that's pretty much what I had. But, you know, they had to fucking get the thing and cut off the lock.
Bolt
and then,
cutter.
yeah, and then I
How
had to,
uncomfortable is that when that bolt cutter's just right in front of your face like that?
I mean, that was probably the most comfortable I felt the
Really?
whole time.
I
This
just
is
meant,
a
like-
bad
I
experience.
meant like
of what's happening.
internally, just to have some guy who's like there, like cutting a piece of you off.
I mean, I was
technically.
upset because,
Or you're just like, cut it off, motherfucker. You were just.
well, I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I mean, there's a lot to process right now. I mean,
Yeah.
that was, it's sort of upsetting, but I'm also like,
You're distracted by other more upsetting things.
I'm like trying to actually gauge this situation and how much of what these people in the car told me is like true. You know what I mean? Like,
Gotcha.
I didn't think they'd lied, but I'm like, I'm having a hard time believing that what you're saying is I'm going camping now. Like, you know, so it's like they're cutting this thing off of me. So I'm like, all right, you know, I mean, what am I going to do? I can't fight. Like, I'm assessing the situation because I'm like, I know that there's going to be very little I can actually do to get out of this. So I just need to sort of like quietly observe and, you know, figure out what's happening. So they cut the thing off. Then I have to get naked. I have to bend over and cough. So to prove that I guess I don't have drugs in my asshole.
Right.
And then they give me this pack with all this camping gear and like my new clothes, you know, which is like pants and like, you know, fucking shirts, whatever. I mean, nothing like cute, like, but like camping gear.
Just camping stuff, yeah.
And then they like sort of show me what all this gear is and like what it does and like its function.
So it's like you're in a video game now, and you got your first loadout.
yeah, like, you know, they're like, this is
Without the bending over and coughing.
That's what I
That's
do.
never been in a video game.
right.
They will when I make them.
So, you know, they show me, they're like, you know, these are your hiking boots, but at night, like, they're going to take your hiking boots and you can put on these booties that are like cloth. So that you couldn't run at
Yeah.
night. So they collect your shoes at night so you can't run at night.
Oh, I got
And
you.
probably they have like shoelaces so you can't choke yourself or kill yourself like that too.
Yeah, well, the little booties had like, you know, that string with like a little,
Yeah.
Okay.
you know, that's what they had on them. But whatever.
Explanation.
Yeah.
But we get it.
And then they were like, this is the cordage, which is just like woven cord. And they were like, this is what you're going to tie to your tarp, which, you know, you'll create your tent, be very, you know, like you're only going to get this much cordage. Like you could trade for cordage later, whatever. But But
Right.
like, like
You gotta
what
find
I
an amount.
found was like, that was like, it's like a hot commodity.
How
you
much?
know?
How much did you give you? Like 10 feet or?
I have no idea. I know that I put it on each end of my tent, and you needed a certain amount because because it's not a tent, it's a blue tarp. So depending on wherever you were, like wherever you camped, you didn't always you had to like work with the environment, right?
Oh, so they moved you around.
We hiked. That's what we fucking did.
Wow. Okay, so let's keep going forward.
So,
So they give you your cordage.
yeah. So, and then like you had like this.
Was it like a blue IKEA bag tarp type thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was like a blue tarp. Then you had the roll up, which was like, like a long foam pad, which you would put down, and then you had the sleeping bag, very high quality. I kept it. It's a mummy sleeping bag. Mm-hmm. And then you had a smaller foam tarp called the butt pad, but they were like, in the event
they're coming to get me.
Yeah.
Sorry, that should have been better.
They're coming back for me. They're like, you can't tell anybody this story. The smaller one, they were like, if you're hiking and there's lightning, you need to take this out, put it on the ground, stand on it. So if lightning strikes, it apparently
Dissipates.
Yeah. So, and then they're like, this is your cup. And they didn't explain this to me then, but then someone explained it to me when I got there. They burn out the bottom of the cup because you're not allowed to look at yourself the whole time you're out there. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So it's just like all blacked out.
Yeah, like basically they let you keep the cup, but if they catch you looking at yourself, they burn it out. So of course mine got burned out.
So originally it's not burned out.
Yeah, originally it's like a steel cup, but
Yeah.
then they
We'll go forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So they give you a metal cup.
give you a metal cup. You get a plastic spoon that you can use for your first 3 days only.
Okay.
To eat
Yeah.
with and fuck yourself with.
And
if
we'll
you-
find out why later. Not the
and-
fuck yourself part, but
yeah.
why you only get 3 days.
Let me think. And then there were gloves. I didn't need them because I was there in May, June.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't need them, but like big mittens and whatever. A couple bandanas and like, a couple pairs of underwear, bra. But like basically you had to wash that shit out there. So,
So this is day one. They just throw you out.
so they're showing me all this shit. So then they drive me an hour. I swear to God. I mean, fine. I have no idea how long it was, but it was like around 45 minutes to an hour into the middle of nowhere. And then they drop me off with this group.
Which if you, at that age, an hour is forever. When you're 15, an hour it feels like fucking 2 days now.
Like,
as
I'll
an
put
adult.
it this way. Like, I know it was more than 20 minutes.
Right.
And I know this because
That's a whole math class right there.
they thought I had a UTI at one point, so they drove me back and I saw a doctor. So I did that drive one, but I mean, the location did change. The point is they need to drive you far enough that if you
Is that
run,
what you did with the spoon?
they need to drive you far enough, like, so they know you can't actually run to civilization if you run.
Gotcha.
So that's why they drive you so far.
No, that makes sense. That's what I figured.
And they also, because they have different groups, like, because I was not the only group.
Right.
And we don't know how many groups there were. Sometimes you would pass another group, which was really fucking weird. And you're not allowed to look at them or talk to them.
Well, they burn out your eyes
Yeah.
and their faces. They make you wear this. Anyway, go ahead.
So they have groups, they have boy groups and girl groups and whatever. So, they've how they even, have
Okay,
orchestrated this type of
so you
land
get there.
is insane to me.
You drive that 40 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And then what?
Okay, so they drop me off, and there's staff, and I see these girls, and what they do is this girl, I get set up away from the group, and they start a fire for me, and this girl comes over, and she's like, effectively, I don't think they called it big sister there. They did in the other place. They called it something, but she was like effectively my big sister, and she was like, I can't talk to you, but I can explain to you how this works and answer any questions you have. And
Wait, what does that mean?
so, like, I couldn't be like, I feel so sad. Will you talk to me and be my friend? It was like, I can tell you the rules, but I cannot have any, like, real dialogue with you.
So it's like
The idea is to isolate
I am
me.
cut, and here is a Band-Aid. That is it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like, and the staff wouldn't talk to me. I mean, like, again, they would,
give instructions. They would
Yeah,
would interact, but
they
nothing.
basically, the idea is like, here you are, now you're going to be isolated and
they're
think
like
about
NPCs
what you've fucking
where
done.
they can only have certain conversations, but you can't like talk about.
Or a marriage after 10 years. So.
So they
It
set
only
up,
took 5 for my parents, but
they set up my fire. She explains to me that I'm going to need to carve a spoon out of like wood I find.
Right. That's why the first spoon you only had for 3 days.
Yeah, and like, you know, obviously I don't have a knife, but they had a knife, and you know, you could use it supervised, whatever. And then she
So
explains.
there's one knife in the whole group, basically. So you get there, you meet your big sister, you meet there's one person in charge. How many people in charge?
I want to say there was 2 to 3 counselors, and they would rotate out weekly.
Okay, but there's only one with you at a time, or 3 with you at a time.
There were 3 because I would say there was like 8 girls.
Okay.
If
So
I
8
mean,
girls, 3 counselors. Are they all women or men?
there were men too.
Okay. They would be different every time.
They would. I mean, I was there 6 weeks, so you saw the same people again.
Right, but I mean, it's 3 different people of those groups. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not always 3 women, not always 3 men. It's a mix of these
Yeah. Like sometimes it's 3 women.
people you weren't allowed to
sometimes
talk to. They were wearing bags on their heads, so you can't tell what they are.
Yeah.
So.
how old were they? The adults?
It's really weird. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Because, you know, when you're 15, my age seems old.
She couldn't tell until she kissed them. So.
Her brother was there. Just, I'm back.
I'm just here to yell at you. You're not allowed to talk to people. Well, I'm leaving then.
I'm just here to yell at people and squeeze scabs.
Your brother needs that. Your brother, it's just for that reason.
I know. Well, I'll get to my brother's involvement with all of this fucking horseshit. But,
okay. So you're in the group. Day 1, what do you do?
Well, so this girl explains to me that when I go to the restroom, I can go wherever, you know, but I need to scream my name every few seconds so they know I'm not running. And then she explains that there's a latrine. She shows me where the latrine is. She explains, like, as we move camps, a new latrine will be dug. Like, you know, when we move camps, everybody has a new duty to do.
New duty.
And that if I'm not going in the latrine, if we're on hikes or whatever, that I need to dig a cat hole, which is supposed to be like something like 6 inches into the ground. And I'm like, so you're saying I need to stop like a hike, scream my name every 7 seconds, and like with whatever I can find around me, dig 6 inches in the ground? Fuck you. I left so many surface turds all over Utah. I was like, go fuck yourselves. And that was my way
Surface
of...
turds is the name of the episode.
And that was my way of getting back at all of them, even though I really, I guess, just affected Mother Nature. But I was like, fuck this. I'm not doing that.
Someone probably stepped in it later on. So.
Yeah, and so, you know, and like she was like, when you use the toilet paper, you bring the toilet paper back and you have to put it in the Ziploc bag. And I was like hell, I'm doing that. So I didn't do that. I would just bury the toilet paper. You know, she explained what to do with tampons. I didn't have my period, like, for the entire duration of that and then the following place because I was so traumatized. Okay. I actually thought, I was like, did I have sex with that guy? But, like, I didn't. But, like, that, because I was like, where's my period? It just stopped happening.
Yeah.
So she explains all this shit, and then I'm basically alone now for days. And, what ended up happening, if I like remember this timeline correctly, you're only supposed to be on like Earth phase for like 2 or 3 days, right? Alone
Okay,
like
so
that.
Earth phases.
So this whole thing was supposed to only be 2 to 3 days.
Right.
Earth phase is the camping outside portion? Or?
No. That's phase 1. There's 4 phases of your experience there. There's Earth phase, fire phase, water phase, and air phase.
Okay, so Earth phase is...
Step 1. This is where I'm
explain
at.
what it is. Yeah.
So Earth phase, you know what I should do is I have all this stuff.
Well, next time we'll do it, but yeah.
So Earth phase is like you're separate from the group. You have to write a thing about like why you think you're there. And then in order to get into and you have to like carve your spoon and whatever. And I think, yeah, you have to, on Earth phase, carve the fireboard and your bow. Part of the cordage was used for your bow and spindles.
You had to
and
make your own bow?
You had to, to learn how to start a fire.
Oh, that kind of bow. All right. I thought you had to go hunt.
No. So you had to do all that, but
she became Katniss from Hunger Games.
Uncle Katniss.
Uncle Katniss. Sorry, I'm very loud.
So yeah, you had to do all that shit. You had to successfully start a fire to get in fire phase.
Ironic, because it's the Earth phase.
Right. And then the most, and then the pretty much the most fucked up thing that you had to do was you received a letter from your family, and before you ever got to read it, you had to read it out loud to the group. So these are people you've never met before, and you're reading the letter. It's called the impact letter, and it's the letter from your family stating why you're there.
Those are all things you have to do before you can join fire phase.
Yeah, these are things to get to fire phase, right?
So you're in Earth phase for day one. What happens then?
I mean, I fucking went to actually day one. So I've always had insomnia, like pretty severely.
Right.
And like I've never been camping. So like frankly, day one, I like went to the nicest counselor and I was like, look, I cannot sleep. I am really freaked out right now. I mean,
yeah, you had to take Ambien. That's like,
yeah, like I was like, and they, I mean, I was like,
none of those drugs. Like, no matter what you need, you can't take it.
You know,
asthma,
I don't know what
no
they
inhaler.
did for kids who were on antidepressants. I know I didn't take any drugs in the wilderness, but the next place, but I was so like horrified that she let me sleep in her tent with her and like did like breathing exercises with me to go to sleep. I wasn't like having a panic attack, but I was like, look, like, I don't know what the fuck is normal here, but like this is very not normal for me, and I'm having a lot of trouble processing like what's going on.
It would have made more
right
sense
now.
to sleep on the street in a city than it would be to sleep in the woods.
I was like, this is insane, and I haven't talked to anyone, and no, I can't talk to, and I'm like, and I'm really,
So what happened with that? So you wake up the next day. What happens?
So the next day, I don't know. I think we were getting up at like 6 a.m. I have no idea.
But nobody cared that you were in the tent with her.
No, I mean, I think all three of them shared a tent, or two of them. I don't remember exactly. I feel like they knew. They knew.
No one was in trouble.
No. I mean, I think it was pretty common for
they
kids
were
to,
in trouble. But
I mean, we were in trouble.
No more trouble than
They didn't take away the
they already
counselor's
were in,
shoes, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was fine. But that was the only night they allowed
so when
that.
they took your shoes away as a group, where did they put them?
No fucking idea.
They weren't even in that tent with you guys.
They might have put them in like one of their packs or something. One of the counselors' packs. But yeah, like that was like a shoe collection every night.
Yeah, give me your shoes.
Yeah. So
Shoegate.
I have no idea what we fucking did the next day. I don't even remember. I mean, I was separate from everybody, so I was sitting around thinking.
Yeah, you just weren't doing anything basically. You were trying to comprehend the whole situation.
Yeah,
still.
I don't know what fucking they were doing. I mean, I don't remember.
But you guys weren't hiking yet. You're just in one place right now.
Right, and then I think we went on a hike because we'd had to have gone on a hike. We went on a hike because this is why this ended up being really fucking horrible for me. For whatever reason, the timing was really bad. I got there, and then they had the rest of the group go on a thing called their Solos mission, which is where, they separate everybody.
It really does sound like a video game right now.
Yeah, so they separate everybody, like so now everyone's sort of like doing Earth phase type shit. And you're supposed to reflect and think about blah, blah, blah. But I've already been doing that for 3 days, and now they're doing this for another 3 days. So I was effectively...
No, but you're still in Earth phase.
Yeah, but what I mean...
Let's not leave there yet, because, one, we don't have enough time to get into the next phase anyway.
But we're not in the next phase.
Right.
I'm trying to sort of explain that, like, my intro into this whole situation was more isolated than what it should normally was, because they sent them out on a solos mission. So even though I got out of Earth phase, what happened was I read my impact letter. Okay, fuck.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Let's go back. So first day fine. Second day, you're just kind of
yeah, I carve a spoon or some shit.
You did spoon second day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they break my spoon the third day.
You have your shitty wooden spoon that you have to use the rest of the time.
I poop in a hole a couple times.
And that's about it.
I get to eat hot. That's another thing of Earth phase. You're allowed to have hot food, but once you're on fire phase, you can only have hot food if you start a fire.
So what was your hot food?
They had like dehydrated beans and rice and like
Gotcha. But they would make the fire for you at first.
Yeah, when I was on Earth phase.
So you had to learn how to make a fire and make a bow. How hard was that for you?
That was actually kind of fun.
All right, so you just picked it up. It's like, I got it.
Well, you had to find branches. You were like, okay, could this does this already have the shape of what a bow could be? And then you had to carve it
Do they
down.
give you any instruction on what to do? Or
Well, I mean, when you're doing that, so like I can't totally remember because I'm thinking I can't totally remember if maybe like they let you use those materials. I don't remember how you learn how to do it because eventually you do it and you're with the group and you're doing it. But I'm trying to remember.
But when to do it by yourself though.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like trying to understand.
Did you get to watch someone else do it?
Yeah,
and
like
you
you're
just
watching.
Kind of copied
you're in the
what
group.
they were doing. Like
That's
if
when
you're
you're
in
in
a
the
dance
group.
class and everyone else is doing a thing,
Yeah.
you just kind of copy off the person next
So like
to
what
you.
I'm thinking is maybe they let you use someone's materials to do that and they showed you how to do it
Gotcha.
and then you got to make your own once you were like on fire phase,
Okay,
you know?
that makes sense.
Cuz it's like I couldn't have made all that in 3 days. I know that. And so
Right. That's why I was so confused.
yeah, so, but I mean the spoon thing happened, but
Yeah. So how you found your piece of wood? Was that a? Did you even give a shit at this
well
point?
this is later. So if you want me to
Well, it's still, I thought it was still part of Earth phase.
you find the wood for the spoon. I'm thinking that I did the bow thing after you're in fire phase.
Okay. Okay. So
Look, this was 16 fucking years ago.
no one's
goddamn.
mad at you, Katharyn. Calm down. So we're trying to figure it out.
This
so you're
is
not
what it's like to go back into the
not
past. though.
jumping all
It's
over
like,
the place.
There's a lot going on, and I'm very confused.
Yeah, this is exactly the way we feel like you felt right there. Like, oh my god, I'm so scared. Where is she?
Okay, so
This walk in the park was not a walk in the park
okay,
for
let
you.
me just so let me just break this down really quick. I made the spoon. I think they let me use someone else's materials. They showed me how to start a fire. I was able to successfully get, as long as you get the ember into the nest, they were like, all right, great, you did
Right.
that. And then I read my impact letter.
So we'll end on the letter. Let me ask the spoon question one more time. You found like how hard was that to do to find the stupid wood?
I mean, either the big sister, one of the staff was like, look, like, you know, you want to get something for a spoon that's like, you know, not too big, but not too little. And then, you know, you want to carve it into a fucking spoon. So like, yeah, there was like a part of a day.
That sounds simple, but it is very difficult.
It's difficult. I mean, there was
'Cause
part of a day
you don't
where I
have
was.
the right materials for that. Like to actually make a spoon, you need to like have a lathe and all this other shit.
I think they had one of those like curved. I don't.
Oh, they
remember.
did? Okay.
They might have, because I did do the dip, you know.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I mean, yeah, but there was part of a day where I was eating with like, part of that was just a stick.
Yeah.
You know.
She's chopsticks.
Yeah, when you're not allowed to just make chopsticks.
Yeah.
It's like, my culture dictates that I should be able to eat my beans with
Starts
chopsticks.
eating with chopsticks.
Yeah. So I was like eating with part of a stick, and
And that's where she became a foodie.
But so.
But then you basically, as time went on, you made it into a spoon of some kind.
Yeah, exactly.
I just brought
made
that
two
up.
spoons actually.
I brought that up because Bobby Kelly tried to make a spoon last year, about a year ago, and cut his thumb open because he wasn't using the right kind of knife, and it was hilarious.
Oh, I made two spoons.
Yeah, you can show him how sometime.
Her eating in the woods is also why she doesn't care how dirty a restaurant is. She's like, I've eaten.
No, honestly, being out there, I think that's why I just don't give a fuck about germs. I am not a germaphobe. I'm weird about smells. I don't like the way certain things smell, like people, and like, and then I don't want to talk to certain people
But
because the
she
way they
will
smell.
surface turd all over your world.
Yeah, I'll shit on anything. I'll fucking eat almost anything.
So let's end on the letter.
Well, I mean, can I?
Because your ride's here.
I mean, well, I just
Taking you back to Utah.
I need to say two things, like the letter and then this solos thing. So basically, I read this impact letter, and the letter is a truly mortifying experience.
Right.
Like, I had never seen someone do it, right? So you read it, and it's basically your family accusing you of things that are true and things that are not true. You know what I mean? And like, you are not allowed to stop reading the letter to defend yourself or refute anything.
Right.
So basically, you're reading this letter of like, dear Katharyn, you know, here's why you're here, blah, blah, blah. And if you try to stop, they're like, no, keep reading. And then you just become emotional. You know, now you're crying. Like, and it's horrible. And like, and when it's over, it's just over. You're not allowed to talk about it.
Right.
No one can say, and you just have to basically read it to people who are like staring at you. And like, so I had a horrible time. I mean, I will never forget this one girl reading hers because they don't know what they're in for. And that's the thing. Once you've watched people
This is
do it
later
enough.
on.
Yeah. And I know, and
Yeah.
I
Right.
probably won't get brought up again. So this is the impact letter section of this. Like, you don't know what's going to happen to you when it happens, and you don't know like how it's going to feel. And after you watch enough people do it and see them break down, you know, you're kind of like, as a spectator, you know, it's really hard to watch because it's not, I don't think it's a good thing. Like, I mean, so this girl like was reading hers and her family accused her of having like a gangbang, and you just watched her begin. She's like, I didn't do, and they were like, keep reading, you know, and you're like, this is so fucking horrible. Because you can't, you know, you're just now a criminal. You're just a criminal.
They're just putting things in there like, and she owes me $200.
Yeah, and I don't know why. You know,
This honestly sounds like an open mic. I'm just like, wow, this is terrifying.
I promise when I get back, I will.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I don't remember that girl's name, but I'll remember her face just weeping, like, at these things. And, like, yeah, some of these things that we did were true, but it's like... And it's just a horrible. I don't know. I don't understand the purpose of that exercise.
Yeah, I did not kiss Fat Brandon.
Yeah. Other than to just like make you be vulnerable and then make you sit with it, which I guess like like
Kind of break you down.
In theory, it's like healthy for life, but not like in that type of extreme. So that happened. So basically, I made it into fire phase, but immediately. So I'm now in the group like day one.
Wait, you didn't say what your letter was.
I mean, it was, I don't remember what was in it. I mean, I can find it.
But like your mom wrote it?
It was my mom, and I think my brother also wrote one.
Your dad didn't want to write anything?
Because I just picture you reading it, and like you're just reading it, and then like every now and then you just go, huh. And then just move on.
It was a lot of like internet stuff. My mom's was very like sad, and my brother's was very
so did you
like,
have to read 2 letters?
Yeah. And it was like you and like that's how I remember it. That's what was in the letter.
You had to read 2. Does everyone have to read like one more than one, or is it the thing where your brother was?
My brother and my
nope,
mom.
She's reading mine also.
Brother was extra.
Yeah, my brother is yeah. Fuck. Anyway, so I read the letter. I'm in the group. Day 1. So now I'm in fire phase. Day 1, and they're like everybody's doing a solos mission. Which means I now finally get to talk to people after 3 days, and they're like, no, everyone now gets separated. So now everyone's separated, and you're back, and you're camping in your own site, and this is supposed to be this, like, reflection period. Well, no. Like, I finally am feeling like, okay, now I get to kind of try to connect with some people, and I sunk into a horrific depression, at which point, this is when they sent out these people, I don't know what they're called, but they come to assess everyone. Right?
Oh my God.
And I meet this woman, and
first of all, this is like a dog being fostered, and then like after one day having to go right back to a shelter.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
And I meet this woman who seemed really nice at the time.
A foster cat.
And she was talking to me. Maybe this was later, but I don't know. But I think this woman comes, she's talking to me, and I'm explaining to her, I was like, I don't feel good. I feel really, I felt like I could talk to this random woman. Like, I understand, you know, she was so soothing and nice.
Yeah.
I found out later, she went back and told my fucking mom that I was misbehaving. I had an attitude, all this shit. I remember crying to this woman, like, you know, because I was at that point where I was like, if anyone will just talk to me, I'll just unload to anybody. So, like, that's what they do. Like, they'll twist anything to keep you in, because now my mom's like, fuck, like she's gonna need more of this, you know, therapy and blah blah blah, and like whoever that woman is, I want to have a fucking conversation with you, and I want to torture one of your children, you know. Like, I get a little fucking emotional about some of this. It's just like hyper manipulation. It's
right.
Really insane.
So she just went and told a bunch of lies to your mom so they could keep you longer.
Yeah,
like
and beyond keeping me longer,
yeah,
but beyond keeping me longer, it's not even keeping me there longer. It's encouraging the connection to another facility, which would be the second place I went. Right. It's all this big network of just lies.
Yeah, that's like getting a DUI.
Because we want to help your child and help that they don't want to help anything. A punishment-based therapy system is not therapy, and that's what all of this was.
That's what they do on DUIs too. When you get a DUI, you get arrested in Texas. And then after all the court shit, that's the easy part. Then they do all these assessments for you, which no matter what, they just... So if you go, they're like, hey, you got to take this assessment to see if you're on drugs and if you need drug therapy. And then it's all it goes by is like, do we got to pay for it or do they? That's all it is.
Yeah.
And then it's like they want you all these classes that they get money from that they like, oh, they recommend these classes. Like victim impact panel. Like, well, they didn't hit anybody.
Yeah.
They just got pulled over being drunk. well, they got to take the class with people who hit people with.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I've been
just-
arrested.
they just want all
it's
the
a bunch
money
of weird
from you.
shit. I mean,
Yeah, That they all lie. You go do an assessment and you tell them, do they do drugs? Like, I've never done drugs in my life. Well, they need counseling for drugs. Like, that makes no sense at
Yeah.
all. So
yeah. So I mean, so that was a pretty, you know, that was rough because I was like, I'm trying to process just all of this fucking weird emotional horse shit and
That's
just
the
the
wrap
fact
it up
I'm
alarm.
here. And, yeah. So that was that.
yeah. So okay, well, we ended on that bitch being a total bitch.
Earth phase.
So we're gonna get to more of fire phase next time. This has been interesting. We started off a little wonky. But
What do you mean? Why were we wonky?
Me. I was going to refer to my stroke that I had at the beginning.
All right.
You were perfect, Katharyn.
Thank you. As
so
always.
you can follow me at Mike V. Suarez.
Follow me at Jaime Shahan.
You girl, you nasty.
Oh, they're fun sunglasses.
EWGRLYOU nasty. Thank you.
All
You're
right.
Alexander Wang.
Wang.